Okay. So from reading too much and sleeping too little, his brain dried up on him and he lost his judgment. This is a quote from Miguel de Cervantes, and it emphasizes how important sleep is. Sleep is an important function to help preserve our brains from diseases. Today I want to talk about how important it is to understand how neurodegenerative diseases can affect us, how the brain works, and how these diseases actually affect the brain. So neurodegenerative diseases are diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. They affect how our brain works and impact us immensely. Today I'll mostly be focusing on Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's, according to the Alzheimer's Association, affects over 5 million people in the United States. It causes us to lose our memories and our basic skills. It can also affect us emotionally. Imagine you have someone who you love and they develop Alzheimer's. They can begin forgetting little things about you, like what your favorite food is, what your favorite color is, and then eventually they'll forget who you are. It is a devastating disease that can impact our lives dramatically. The way it works is by damaging and eventually destroying the neurons in our brain. So I want to talk about what a neuron is. So this is a picture of a neuron. It has 4 basic parts of it: the dendrites, the cell body, the axon, and the terminal bulb. So in order to explain how this works, I want to explain using an analogy. Let's say there's a pot that's really hot, and you put your hand on it, touching it. Your dendrites will take up that information that the pot is super hot, and it'll send it to your cell body, which will then send a signal down the axon to the terminal bulb. And from there, what it does is the neuron sends a signal from the terminal bulb to another cell called a motor cell. That motor cell will tell your brain, oh, that pot is super hot, so you should take your hand off so you don't burn yourself. And that's pretty much how we retain memories and skills, because now your brain also knows that that pot is super hot, so your brain will keep you from touching it again. Thus, that's how your memories work. And neurodegenerative diseases make us lose these basic memories and skills by destroying the neurons themselves. So one of the main theories on how Alzheimer's destroys neurons is because of these things called tau tangles. And before I get to exactly what that is, I want to explain how the neuron works a bit more. It has these things called microtubules that run along it. They're kind of like the highways of the neuron. They transport goods from one place to another. And the microtubules over time can degrade. They will break down and release these what is called hyperphosphorylated tau. And what that basically just means is that the tau proteins, they will clump together and stick, creating kind of like traffic jams on the highway. And when this happens, the neurons begin to break down because they can't get supplies from one place to another. The healthy neurons become diseased and start to break apart. Now, the tau tangles work internally to break down the neurons, but there's also another one that is external called beta amyloid plaques. And how beta amyloid plaques work is they're like tau tangles where they clump together. They're waste products from other proteins, and they clump together outside the cell. And like in the pot analogy, essentially what happens is the plaques will block the cells from interacting with other cells. So the neuron cannot tell the motor cell to take your hand off the pot. In both these cases, you lose this ability, this reflex, to take your hand off something that's super hot. Fortunately, though, these beta amyloid plaques can be removed. In a 2013 study called Sleep Drives Metabolite Clearance from the Adult Brain, scientists found that sleep can actually help remove these beta amyloid plaques. So when we sleep, our brain and the rest of our body gets rid of waste products more efficiently than while we're awake. It's kind of like a janitor at a high school. During the day, he has to deal with all the other students creating a mess and possibly bothering him. But at nighttime, he can focus on his work and clear out these all the mess more easily. So as college students, most of us don't get a lot of sleep, but it's important that we do get as much sleep as we can to reduce the chance of getting Alzheimer's. In this speech, I explain how diseases like Alzheimer's can affect us, how neurons work in the brain, and how these diseases affect those neurons. So neurodegenerative diseases affect many Americans, so it's important to know how they work and what we can do to prevent them, such as getting restful sleep. Even though getting good sleep as college students is really hard, everything we are capable of doing is because of our brain. So we want to take as much care of it as we can. Thank you for listening to my presentation.